Republic Act 6969, Toxic Substance and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act. An act to control toxic substance and hazardous and nuclear waste, providing penalties for violation thereof and for other purposes. Short title: This act shall be known as Toxic Substance and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act of 1990. Declaration of policy: as the policy of the state to regulate, restrict, or prohibit the importation, manufacture, processing, sale, distribution, use, disposal of chemical substance and mixture that present unreasonable risks and or injury to health or the environmental, to prohibit the entry, even in transit, or hazardous and nuclear waste and their disposal into the Philippine territorial limits for whatever purpose, and to provide advancement and facilitate research and study on toxic chemicals. Scope: this act shall cover the importation, manufacture, processing, handling, storage, transportation, sale, distribution, use and disposal of unregulated chemical substances and mixture in the Philippines, including the entry, even in transit, as well as the keeping of or storage, disposal of hazardous and nuclear waste into country for whatever purposes. Objectives: the objectives of this act are: A. To keep an inventory of chemicals that are presently being imported, manufactured, or used, indicating, among other, this existing and possible use, taste data, name of firms manufacturing or use them, and such other information as may be considered relevant to the protection of health and the environment. B. To monitor and regulate the importation, manufacture, processing, handling, storage, transportation, sale, distribution, use and disposal of chemical substance and mixture that present unreasonable risks or injury to health or to an environment in accordance with the national policies, international commitments. C. To inform and educate to populace regarding the hazard and risks attendant to the manufacture, handling, storage, transportation, processing, distribution, use and disposal of toxic chemical and other substance and mixtures. D. To prevent the entry, even in transit, as well as the keeping or storage and disposal of hazardous and nuclear waste into the country of whatever purpose. Definition as used in this act. A. A chemical substance means any organic or inorganic substance of a particular molecular identity. B. Chemical mixtures means any combination of two or more chemical substances, and the combination does not occur in nature, and it is not, in whole or in a part, the result of a chemical reaction if none of the chemical substance comprising the combination is a new chemical substance, and if the combination could not have been manufactured for commercial purposes without a chemical reaction at the time the chemical substance comprising the combination were combined, they shall not include biodegradable mixtures. C. Process means the preparation of a chemical substance or mixtures after its manufacture for commercial distribution. D. Importation means the entry of a product or substance into the Philippines throughout the seaports or airports of entry, after having been properly cleared throughout or still remaining under customs control. The product or substance of which is intended for direct consumption, merchandising, warehousing, for further processing. A. Manufactures means the mechanical or chemical transformation of substance into new product, whether work is performed by power-driven machine or by hand, whether it is done in the factory or the worker home, and whether the products are sold at wholesale or retail. F. Hazardous substances are substances which present either 1. Short-term acute hazard, such as acute toxicity by ingestion, inhalation, or skin absorption, corrosivity or other skin or eye contact hazard, or the risk of fire or explosion, or 2. Long-term environmental hazard, including chronic toxicity upon repeated exposure, carcinogenicity, which may in some cases result from accurate exposure but with a long latent period, resistant to detoxification process such biodegradation, the potential to pollute underground or surface water, or aesthetically objectionable properties such as offensive odors. Republic Act 6969, Toxic Substance and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act. Function, power, and responsibilities of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources shall be the implementing agencies tasked with the following function, powers, and responsibilities. A. To keep an update inventory of chemicals that are presently being manufactured or used, indicating, among others, their existing and possible uses, quantity, taste data, name of firms manufacturing or using them, such as other information as the Secretary may consider relevant to the protection of health and the environment. B. To require chemical substances and make sure that the present unreasonable risks or injury to health or to the environment to be tested before they are manufactured or imported for the first time. C. To require chemical substances and mixture which are presently being manufactured or processed to be tested if there is a reason to believe that they pose unreasonable risks or injury to health and the environment. D. To evaluate the characteristics of chemicals that have been tested to determine their toxicity and the extent to their effect on health and the environment. A. To enter into contract and make grant for research, development, and monitoring of chemical substances and measures. F. To conduct inspection of any establishment in which chemicals are manufactured, processed, stored, or held before or after the commercial distribution, and to make recommendation to the proper authorities concerned. J. To confiscate or impound chemical found not falling within the standard set by the rules and regulation the said act cannot be enjoined except after chemicals have been impounded. H. To monitor and prevent the entry, even in transit, of hazardous and nuclear waste and their disposal into the country. I. Subpoena witnesses and documents and to require other information if necessary to carry out the prevention of this act. J. To call on any department, bureau, office, agency, state university, or college, and other instrumentalists of the government for assistance in the form of personnel, policies, and other resources as needed arise in this discharge of the function. K. To disseminate information and conduct educational awareness campaign of the effect of chemical substance, mixtures, and waste on health and environment. L. To exercise such powers and inform such as other functions as may be necessary to carry out its duties and responsibilities under this Act. Interagency Technical Advisory Council. There is hereby created Interagency Technical Advisory Council attached to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, which shall be composed of the following officials of their duly authorized representatives: Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources, Chairman; Secretary of Health, Member; Director of Philippine Nuclear Research Institute, Member; Secretary of Trade and Industry, Member; Secretary of Science and Technology, Member; Science of National Defense, Member; Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Member; Secretary of Labor and Employment, Member; Secretary of Finance, Member; Secretary of Agriculture, Member; Representative from the Non-Governmental Organization on Health and Safety, Member. Free manufacturing and free importation requirements. Before any new chemical substance or mixture to be manufactured, processed, or imported for the first time as determined by the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, with the manufacturer, processor, or importer shall submit the following information: the name of the chemical substance, its chemical identity, and molecular status, proposed categories of use, and estimate of the amount of the manufacture process or imported processing and disposal thereof, and any test data related to health and environment effect which the manufacturer, processor, or importer has. Chemical subject to testing. Testing shall be required in all cases where a. There is a reason to believe that the chemical substance or mixture may present an unreasonable risk to health or environmental exposure thereto. B. There is sufficient data and experience for determining or predicting the health and environment effect of the chemical substance or mixtures. C. The testing of the chemical substance or mixture is necessary to develop such as data. Republic Act 6969, Toxic Substance and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act. Prohibited Act. The following act and omission shall be considered unlawful. A. Knowing use of the chemical substance or mixture was imported, manufactured, processed, or distributed in violation of this act, or implementing rules and regulations or orders. Failure or refusal to submit reports, notice, or in the information, access to records as required by this Act, or permit inspection of establishment where chemical and manufacturing process is stored or otherwise held. Failure or refusal to comply with the free manufacture and free importation requirements and cause aid or facilitate directly or indirectly and the storage, importation, or bringing into the Philippines priority, including as maritime economic zones, even in transit, either by means of land, air or sea transformation, or otherwise keeping in the storage any amount of hazardous and nuclear waste in any part of the Philippines. Criminal offense and penalties. The penalty of imprisonment of 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, and 1 day and 5 rigging from 600 pesos and 4,000 pesos shall be imposed upon any person who shall violate Section 13 of this Act and shall not be covered by the provision law. In case any violation of this Act is committed by a partnership, corporation, association, or any juridical person, the partner, president, director, or manager who shall consent or shall knowingly tolerate such violation shall be directly liable and responsible for the act of the employees and shall be criminally liable as a co-principal. In the case of the offender is a government official or employee, he or she shall be, in addition to the above penalties, be them automatically dismissed from the office and penalty disqualified from holding any elected or appointed position. The penalty of imprisonment of 12 years and 1 day to 20 years shall be imposed upon any person who shall be violate Section 13 of this Act. If the offender is a foreigner, he or she shall be deported and barred from the subsequent entry into the Philippines after serving his or her sentences. In the case of corporation or other association, the above penalty shall be imposed upon the managing partner, president, or chief executive. And definition as used in this Act. A chemical substance means any organic or inorganic substance of a particular molecular identity. B. Chemical mixtures means any combination of 2 or more chemical substances if the combination does not occur in nature and it is not, in whole or in a part, the result of a chemical reaction if none of the chemical substance comprising the combination is a new chemical substance, and if the combination could not have been manufactured for commercial purposes without a chemical reaction at the time the chemical substance comprising the combination were combined, they shall not include biodegradable mixtures. C. Process means the preparation of a chemical substance or mixtures after its manufacture for commercial distribution. Administrative fines in all cases of violation of this Act, including violation and implementing rules and regulations which have been duly formulated and published in accordance with Section 16 of this Act. The Secretary of Environment and Natural Resources is hereby authorized to impose a fine not less than 10,000 pesos but not more than 50,000 pesos upon any person or entity found guilty thereof. Promulgation of rules and regulations. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, in coordination with the member agencies of the Interagency Technical Advisory Council, shall prepare and publish the rules and regulation implementing this act within 6 months from the date of this effectivity. Appropriation, such as amount as may be necessary to implement the provision of this act as hereby annual appropriated and included in budget of the Department of Environmental and Natural Resources. Separatability clause. If any provision of this act is declared void or unconstitutional, the remaining provision thereof not affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. Repealing clause. All laws, presidential decrees, executive order and issuance, and rules and regulation which are inconsistent with this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Effectivity. This act shall take the effect after 15 days following its publication in the official gazette or any newspaper of general circulation.